One day, a ruthless Yakuza assassin came to kill a member of the Triad. But there he encountered two FBI agents, John and Tom. A dangerous chase began in the darkness. During the fight, the assassin Rogue shot John in the hand. Just as he was about to finish them, Tom arrived, and Rogue fell into the river. Tom believed that after such severe injuries Rogue couldn't survive, but John didn't believe that. Knew Rogue was extremely cunning and dangerous. John said that the people who once thought Rogue was dead were now dead themselves. However, finding a body in the deep dark river was impossible, so they had to stop the search. 3 days later, John and Tom's families gathered to prepare for an outdoor party. Once again, Rogue became the topic of discussion. Police had searched the entire river, but found no body. Tom joked that maybe the fish had destroyed all evidence, but John suspected Rogue was still alive, waiting for revenge. And if that was true, their families were in danger. Suddenly, John's fear came true. A masked man broke into Tom's house, overpowered Tom's wife and daughter, and locked them in a room. When Tom came outside, the attacker struck him from behind and locked him with his family. The attacker worked mercilessly, leaving them no chance to escape. Sometime later, John's family arrived, but what they saw was horrifying. The house had turned to ashes, surrounded by police cars. The Rogue everyone thought was dead had returned, and this time he had left no witnesses. John couldn't believe his eyes. With faint hope, he ran inside, but only the burned bodies of Tom's entire family remained. The shock was unbearable. Just yesterday, they were planning to eat steak together, and now his closest friend's family had been brutally murdered. As an FBI agent, John investigated the scene thoroughly. He found a titanium bullet casing marked with Rogue's signature symbol. Now there was no doubt. The same killer who fell into the river had returned and committed this cruelty. 3 years later, in a lavish Yakuza nightclub, a mysterious man appeared. Wherever he walked, guards at the doors kept falling. It seemed he knew the place well. After crossing several rooms, he reached the final hall, where a fat Yakuza boss was celebrating with dancers. As soon as he entered, everyone was startled. Cold gunshot rang out, killing a fat man who was eating chicken with a long-legged dancer. The biggest boss ordered attack dogs to be released. But they were just animals, no match for an armed assassin. They were killed too. Then suddenly one dog returned with a gift tied around its neck, a bomb planted by the assassin. Before anyone could react, a massive explosion blew the room apart, tearing bodies into pieces. Yet the fattest boss somehow survived, barely breathing. Through his fear, he saw the man standing before him. It was Rogue, once his most trusted subordinate, now a traitor assassin against the entire organization. Rogue calmly fired the final shot and killed his former boss. Rogue had returned. This time he wasn't just killing people, he was declaring war against the entire underworld that had raised him. After the blast, police and FBI arrived immediately. Among piles of bodies, they found one man alive, but he was too weak to speak clearly. He only muttered that if he ever met that man again, he'd rather die immediately. His words alarmed John, especially when he found the same bullet casing Rogue had used 3 years earlier. Now John was certain Rogue was back and more dangerous than ever. For 3 years, John had searched for him non-stop, but Rogue had remained hidden like he vanished from the world. Now, after this attack, he had revealed himself and declared open war on John. Ironically, during this relentless hunt, John had neglected his own family. His marriage began falling apart. His wife grew distant and resentful. The home he protected was now breaking. At the FBI office, John introduced a new agent, an expert sharpshooter brought to assist the mission. An emergency meeting was called. John explained that Rogue was no ordinary killer. He was obsessed with changing his face, undergoing surgery every 6 months to alter his appearance, making him nearly impossible to catch. It was also believed he had ties with 2 major international crime syndicates: the Japanese Yakuza, led by the powerful crime lord Shiro, whose influence stretched from Asia to Europe; the Triad, led by Lee Chong in Asia. Initially, BO organizations worked together: human trafficking, kidnappings, international drug trade. But Rogue was a key piece in this dark alliance, or perhaps a dangerous player no one fully controlled. Everything changed after a bloody incident 30 years ago. Shiro ordered his Yakuza men to wipe out Lee Chong's entire family. They looted their wealth and sold it on the black market and in museums. Only a few ancient statues and valuable horse artifacts remained. That hatred burned in Lee Chong's heart for 30 years. Recently, he learned Shiro was trying to sell the remaining horses, giving him a chance for revenge. Meanwhile, well-dressed Rogue appeared at Lee Chong's office asking for a job.
Lee Chong.
New Rogue had once been Shiro's trusted man, so he stayed cautious. Rogue calmly said he had never been loyal to anyone, so he couldn't be called a traitor. We promised to help Lee Chong get revenge. They shared one similarity: both were of Chinese origin. Still cautious, Li Chong sent 2 trusted men with Rogue, supposedly to assist him, but actually to monitor him. Meanwhile in Japan, Shiro trained in martial arts inside his private palace. He was extremely cruel, punishing even the smallest mistake brutally to secure the ancient horse deal. Shiro decided to send his daughter to San Francisco because he trusted no outsider. He used to do this, which showed how clever and cautious he was. He was no ordinary man. For decades he had been the leader of the Yakuza. At the same time, John had also arrived in Chinatown, San Francisco. He went to an underground boxing gym to meet his old acquaintance Benny. Benny was an arms dealer and a black market informant who possessed many confidential Interpol-related secrets. Benny revealed that recently people connected to Rogue had been disappearing one by one under mysterious circumstances. Officially, the police had labeled these deaths as suicides, but anyone who investigated closely could tell these were carefully planned murders. Benny added another crucial detail. Most of the dead were doctors who had performed Rogue's plastic surgery. It seemed Rogue was erasing every trace of his identity. Now only one last doctor remained, whose fate was still unknown. That same night, Shiro's men set out to transport the ancient horses. They hid the valuable cargo inside cars and then loaded those cars into container trucks so they could pass checkpoints easily. Everything was meticulously planned because they had bribed both local and international police. But as soon as the convoy reached the checkpoint, the police suddenly stopped them. Shiro's men panicked. Had the corrupt officers betrayed them? One man angrily questioned the police officer. The officer laughed and said he needed money. Everyone laughed, assuming he just wanted a bigger bribe. But suddenly, the same officer opened fire and killed Shiro's men on the spot. In reality, he had already been bought by Rogue. Rogue had paid him more and double-crossed both sides. After the successful ambush, Li Chong rewarded Rogue and his associates. He handed Rogue a suitcase full of dollars and added a special bonus. The next morning, the police sealed off the shooting site. John arrived and examined the scene carefully. His experience revealed something strange. Shiro's men were armed, yet none had drawn their weapons. That meant they hadn't suspected the attacker. It was someone they trusted. John immediately detained the corrupt officer for interrogation. Under pressure, he confessed that his wife and children had been threatened, forcing him to do it. But he didn't realize that crossing the Japanese mafia meant death. As John expected, Yakuza always took revenge. The moment the officer stepped out of the station, he was shot dead by Rogue. Rogue then went after John. A fierce chase followed across rooftops and narrow alleys. But Rogue vanished again, leaving behind only his signature shell casing. After losing the cargo, Shiro's men were furious and wanted retaliation against the Triads. Just then, Shiro's daughter arrived, sent to oversee operations. She ordered everyone to stay calm and not act hastily. Her authority silenced them. Soon after, John received a call from Rogue, claiming the stolen goods were hidden in Warehouse 16. John and his FBI team raided it, but it was empty. Inside, John saw only one person, Rogue. John's blood boiled. He hated Rogue because he had killed his closest friend Tom and his entire family. Wanted to pull the trigger, but as a lawman, he restrained himself. While staring into Rogue's eyes, he felt something familiar, as if he saw those eyes daily in the mirror. But he dismissed it. With no evidence, the FBI had to leave. Li Chong was impressed that Rogue had predicted the FBI raid. His trust in Rogue deepened, unaware it was part of Rogue's larger plan. John, meanwhile, burned with frustration. For 3 years he had chased Rogue with no success. He vented his anger at a shooting range, but trouble escalated. A mysterious biker provoked Li Chong's men, luring them into Yakuza territory. A brutal gang war erupted. Almost all Triad men were killed, except one long-haired loyalist, who realized too late that trusting Rogue was a mistake. The FBI surrounded the area the next morning. John knew retaliation was inevitable and ordered surveillance on Yakuza territory. A shadow war spanning Asia to Europe was igniting. Li Chong, fearing revenge, asked Rogue to protect his wife and children. Rogue agreed. But secretly, he provoked one of Li Chong's men into attacking the Yakuza, the house triggering another bloody clash. During the chaos, Rogue again manipulated events, ensuring no witnesses survived. Another high-speed chase with John followed, ending with John's crash while Rogue escaped. Later, Rogue was assigned a new mission by Shiro's daughter: kill Li Chong and bring back his wife and children's heads. Rogue carried out the mission, killing Li Chong, then his family, and then eliminated the Yakuza operatives present. The massacre was captured on FBI cameras and sent to John. Soon after, Shiro himself arrived in America. The FBI raided his hotel and shown photos of Rogue killing his own men. Shiro put a bounty on Rogue's head. When Rogue came to meet Shiro, he was detained, but he triggered a bomb hidden in the horse statue's suitcase, destroying Shiro's mansion. Shiro survived. Then the truth emerged. Rogue was actually Tom. The real Rogue had died 3 years earlier. Tom, whose family had been slaughtered by Shiro's assassins, took his place after altering his face. For 3 years he lived as a killer, infiltrating the Yakuza to avenge his family. On his dying breath, Shiro revealed one last secret. The man who betrayed Tom was John. John, the brother he trusted, had exposed him years ago, leading to his family's deaths. Enraged, Tom killed Shiro, the mastermind behind it all. After the battle, a suitcase was delivered to John's hidden family. Inside was a golden ancient horse statue and a note. Start a new life. No sender name. But they knew it was Tom. At the same time, Shiro's daughter received a suitcase containing her father's severed head.